I got a call from another fancy family. I said, Ollie, we're perplexed and worried. You see, in a few days' time, we're having a big party, a big celebration at our house. I said, okay, what's the problem? He said, well, someone has stolen a big grand mirror that we have in the parlor where we'll be having the most of the party. For one thing, now there's a big blank spot on our wall. It's hideous. I can probably come up with something to put over the spot for now, but it's not great. But then also I'm concerned to be having people in my house when apparently there's a security problem. I said, huh. Yeah, well, I can come take a look for sure. I can be there this afternoon. That would be wonderful, thank you. I'll be here all day. So I went over that afternoon. It was a really big, fancy house. And you could tell that it was built with entertaining as a primary, goal. Because there was parking around the back, and you came into the house, into this beautiful entry hallway, and it led naturally into this parlor that they had. And that's where they were going to have the main event. And all I could see the spot on the wall where, there was like a rectangle where the paint was a little bit darker. And the client was there waiting for him. Said, yes, well, so you can see clearly this was the spot. And the mirror itself, a mirror that big is expensive, to be sure. And the frame was also fancy and an heirloom. The whole thing was an heirloom. And that's upsetting. But I'm also upset at the idea that there's someone who's managed to break into my house and take such a valuable piece. It just makes me anxious, the thought of that going on at the same time as I'm getting ready for such a big party. It's an important event, you see. I said, yeah, tell me more about the event. There might be a clue in there for us about who the thief is. Certainly. Well, I've been selected, my family, I should say, to host a big welcoming for a baron coming from eastern Ukraine. He and his family are moving here to Baltimore, and it's a big deal. They're very wealthy, they're very influential. The baron is a patron of the arts and of the sciences as well. He's said he's pledging to start a school for science and engineering here in Baltimore, as well as to donate to the existing art schools here in Baltimore. Not the college, mind you, but at the high school and middle school level. All in all, the whole of Baltimore high society is excited to have such an illustrious person join our ranks. We're sure that he'll be joining the symphony and subscribing to the theater and doing all those things. It's just all very exciting, and so we're having a welcome party here at the house. I said, huh. What's the Baron's name? I said, yes, the Baron Mikhail von Aldelhaus. And his wife is the Duchess Aldelhaus. Her first name is Susanna. I said, huh. Those are Germanic names. He said, yes, his family is very old. His family has been in that country for a long time. And part of them have Germanic roots, yes. So this guy's a, pretty high-ranking nobleman back in this country. Why is he coming to Baltimore? Well, we don't know, to be honest with you. I've talked to him a little bit, and other people have as well. And he speaks greatly of excitement to be in the States and in Baltimore, but we've not been able to suss out anything about why he's leaving. Maybe he's just excited to be here. Maybe he's decided to make a better life for his family here in the States. I don't know. I said, okay. Well, I'll do some looking into him later. So I see the brown spot, the darker spot on the wall. Is that the size of the mirror, or is it bigger than that around the frame? I said, yes, it's a bit bigger than that. That's about the size and shape of the mirror itself. The frame comes out away from the wall. The frame is in a silver-colored frame. It's actually pewter. Very heavy, mind you. It's an elaborate kind of floral pattern. I should have some photos around somewhere. We did a catalog of the important pieces of art in the house. Oh, I guess it was probably 10 years ago now, but it should be in there somewhere. I'll have my steward find that for you. I said, okay, yeah, sure. And when does the Baron get into town? Well, he got into town, I guess about a week ago. I met with him briefly for a glass of wine and to run over a few details of the welcoming party. He's a lovely man. He has an accent, but easy to understand, and he's very, very charming. I said, all right. Has anyone else been over to meet with him? Oh, well, I mean, I couldn't say. I'm not in charge of his social calendar. I do know that my friend Steve mentioned going over there in the morning to invite him for coffee and getting no response. But then they did end up having a glass of beer together the night after that. And he said it was lovely. The house isn't really set up yet, but he was still willing to entertain on the veranda. I said, so is this house nearby here? Yes. I can give you the address. But it's important you don't go unannounced. Understood. So, it looks like the only way that you could get that mirror out in one piece would be through the front door. I said, well, no, not entirely, no. It would be an awkward carry. But you can also bring it out of the room toward the front door and then turn, go straight back. And then the kitchen also has a large, tall door through which it could fit. Yes, I thought about that. It could have been the kitchen door or the front door. The other doors are not tall enough, or the mirror is too big to make the turn. I said, And when did you notice it was missing? This morning. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. Something that big, they probably had a plan for moving it out. And it might take a little while to recover it. So I would go ahead. You said you had a plan for something to put up to cover the spot. I would go ahead and do that if your party is tomorrow. But I'm on the case. It may make sense for me to attend the party to see if I can see anybody acting suspiciously, casing the place, any servants that maybe seem like they're hiding something. Oh, yes, that would be fine. We'd be happy to have you. I know we get a reputation in high society of being exclusive, but really it's just like anyone else. We like to hang out with our friends, mostly. And you're welcome to come. I will send you an invitation. Do you prefer email or paper? So, email's fine. So Ollie did some research on this Baron, and also talked to all of his contacts, in pawn shops and fences and people that move stolen goods. And nobody had seen it's a rather unusual piece, a mirror that big, and no one had seen anything like it. So Ollie put some inquiries out, had some people looking for him. But the party came around, so Ollie got dressed up a little bit to be fancy, and he went to the party. He had one little theory. Excuse me. In the back of his mind. But it was a risky one. The party was lovely. There was great food being passed around by a staff of waiters. There was wine and beer and champagne and cocktails. There was a string quartet. And they were playing some, classical music, but also some jazz and some dance music. It was all very well put together, and it wasn't stuffy at all. People were being fancy. They were dressed nice. They were having a nice time, but they weren't, all full of themselves. And then, about an hour into the party, Ollie had talked to a lot of the servants, both the staff that worked in the house all the time and the people that had been brought in just for the party, and hadn't really caught any vibes, any hints. And then there was a clinking of a glass. Clink, 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 and everyone looked toward the door. And there was Ollie's client, standing with a very tall, dark-haired, pale man in a very fancy tuxedo. The fanciest dressed person at the ball, to be sure, but not overdressed, just on the high end of how a person should dress at an event like that. And the host began, "Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you my friends and associates, the Baron. You've all heard a lot about him, but he asked me to make a little introduction. So, we know that he's a patron of the arts and of the sciences. He's also got a keen scientific mind himself. We've been talking about solar panels and steam heating and all kinds of hobbies and interests that he's taken a liking to. So I hope you will all welcome him with open arms into our little society." There's a brief little applause. And people started to mingle again, talking with the Baron. The Baron worked the room. He was a charming man. His wife was there too, and she was lovely, a bit quiet. After a while, Ollie came around. He found a moment alone with the Baron. The Baron said, "My goodness, it's unusual to see an octopus at a party like this." I said, "Yeah, well, I am an unusual person. That's certainly true. A little bit different than a lot of my peers, which is something that I think maybe you and I might have in common." So perhaps, but whatever do you mean? I said, "Well, I hear that in addition to your other interests, you have a keen eye for art." I said, "Well, I'm interested in art, certainly. I don't know if I have a keen eye or not, but yes, I enjoy art. I've studied some art. I've spent a lot of time hanging out in great museums, certainly, learning about the history of art and how it's been used throughout the centuries. It's an interesting field. Art has had many different roles in society at different times. Right now it's in a place of very much decoration and sometimes social commentary, but it's not always been so." I said, "Yeah, I encountered this piece. I was wondering if you might take a look at it for me." And he pulled out of his pocket a little case. And inside that case, I opened it up, and there was a silver cross. The Baron flinched. He said, I'm sorry. You must excuse me." I closed the case and said, "Sir, Mr. Baron, that you can call me Charles. Honestly, my friends call me Charles. Sorry, I didn't mean to react that way." I said, "It's okay. I've met many other unusual people beyond myself and yourself. Some people have secrets that they need to keep, huh?" I said, "Yes. Okay. No one is around. You can speak freely." I said, "You're a vampire, aren't you?" He said, "I am. Yes. Obviously, you figured that out. I would appreciate anyway, you keeping that under your hat. I have my need to drink blood under control. It's not going to be a public nuisance, I assure you." I said, "I have no reason to doubt you. If somebody calls me in saying that there's vampires pursuing them, then I might give you a ring, but failing that, it's not my responsibility to, I'm no vampire hunter, I guess is what I'm saying. So I appreciate that about you, yes."
So would we be a vampire?
He is. I said, well, so you came over here with this idea not just to confirm your suspicion. You need something from me, don't you? Oh, I said, I do. I do. I need you to figure out a way to return the mirror here to this house. I said, ah, yes. Yes, the mirror. It was a problem. I had agreed to have our kind host my welcoming party. And he suggested at once the parlor. Talked about how many grand parties he's had here, and I didn't think at first. And so I agreed. And then we came in, I met with him to tour the place and see it, and talk about some logistical details. And when I saw the room, well, the biggest feature in the room was this giant mirror. I knew I couldn't dodge around all evening long. I said, and you're a kind of vampire. Casts no reflection in a mirror. That's right. You cannot see me in the mirror, and I could not dance around in a room this size with a mirror that big and not have people eventually notice a floating wine glass or some such thing. So yes, I had to sneak in at night and take the mirror and squirrel it away. And because you're a vampire, you were strong enough to do it all by yourself. Well, I could have possibly, but my family, we are vampires, all of us. So with 3 of us, it was no struggle. And we are very sneaky. But I see your point, and I will return the mirror tomorrow evening. Tonight may go long, but tomorrow evening when everyone is asleep, I will sneak back in as sneakily as I snuck in before, return the mirror, and be on my way. And for that, I will have your silence. I said that, and one more thing I might ask. Ask away. I said, I wonder if, when I have other supernatural mysteries, if I can call you in and ask you for your advice. I suspect you've seen many things more than what I've seen, and might have insight into a number of strange situations. At that, the Baron laughed. Oh, you certainly may call me any time, friend. And in fact, that sounds kind of fun. And that was Ollie and the case of the stolen mirror. He was really going to return the mirror, yeah.